Hello, this is Paula Jasmine, and this is going to be a very quick video blog. Today, I want to talk about part-time jobs and the problem that part-time jobs have in the economy, and mostly it's because of my experience and what I'm facing in my life right now. What I feel like the problem is that we're facing, in my opinion. Um, so, first of all, I want to say that I do support increasing the minimum wage because honestly, if you live in a place like New York State, the minimum wage, even the 10.40 an hour that people are paying, sometimes it may not be enough for people. Depends on where you live here in New York State. Um, because of that, I feel like it should be increased. Um, and but the biggest problem that I feel that our economy has is because we have lost full-time jobs. There's, like, for example, I have a degree in chemical engineering and a master's in environmental engineering. There are not many jobs for me in that field around here, and because of that, I have to take jobs that may not pay me as much as what I could get paid if I found a job in the engineering field. Because of that situation, I have had to take. I've been trying to look for full-time job, but the full-time job options, they are very few, and even if I take a full-time job, they may not pay me enough to cover all my living expenses. There's some mistake that I make, and I made that because it was a mistake. 2 years ago, I was working for the state, so I had a relatively decent job. At that time, I decided to get a car. My dad sent me some money, so I bought a car, brand new car, and I had to take a loan on that car. And because of that, I have a car loan expense. I do feel that having a car where I live right now, I live in Albany, New York, which is upstate New York, in this area you need to have a car because otherwise the transportation system can only get you so far, so not having a car can limit my job opportunities. So I've been trying to get my car, even though my income has been greatly reduced. When I was working for the state, I did the calculations, so I was earning about $22 an hour. So now I'm getting paid to work as a cashier $11 an hour, and there are some jobs that I only pay like $12 an hour. So I pretty much like have a $10 difference in there. I have already felt on my private student loans because I don't have the money to pay them. And I know that is going to generate some other problems for me in the future. But going back to the idea, so our economy has generated jobs, but like if you look at the news reports, all that kind of stuff, they have mentioned in the past that the jobs that have been created are part-time jobs, not necessarily full-time jobs. Because of that, working part-time doesn't help me pay my bills. So I'm in a very tough spot, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one dealing with this situation, that you have to take a part-time job because you need some money. And now the idea of like, oh, well, some money is better than nothing, in part it is, but in part doesn't solve the problems because I will still not have enough money to cover all my living expenses. Like, so I know how much is the income that I need, the net income that I need to survive on a monthly basis. That is based on my budget for living. I did a budget. I use Excel, my computer. I know how to use Excel. So I use Excel, I put my budget, I put my rent, car payments, all the things that I don't have to pay during a month. And I added that up, and then I divided that by 4, and then I divided that by 40 hours, which is what you will be working usually when you work full-time. Of course, the hours can vary. So that generated me a number, and that gave me an idea of how much money I need to live on, what would be the salary that I should be looking for when I find a job. The problem that I've been finding is like some of the jobs, they pay well below the amount that I need. And when you look for a job, the amount that they are offering you when you look for a job, it's not the net income that you're going to get, because you have to subtract the federal taxes and state taxes that they're going to take out of that paycheck. And that's the thing that anybody that is looking for a job has to keep in mind. You know, when you're looking for a job and Just because the job said $12 an hour, don't let yourself down. You're not going to get paid net $12 an hour. You're going to be paid less because you have to subtract the taxes that are going to be taken out of your paycheck. So my calculation came to about 11 something an hour. So I've been looking for a job that pays more than 11.50 an hour or more, but it has been very difficult lately. Even the job that I had, the part-time job that I have, it only pays $7 an hour. So that's, for me, going full-time with this company is not a good idea for me, because I will still need a part-time job. And some jobs like retail, they will require me more hours too. So it's a bit difficult to have two jobs. I was working on another part-time job for a while, but the problem was like the hours. Some people, like, at least in retail, my company, you can set the hours that you are available, so they will schedule you within those hours. They can schedule me. So like today, I put that I'm open from 2 to 10:15 or 12 midnight. So they can schedule me anytime from 2 p.m. up until like the store closes. So I can be working 2 to 9, or I can be working 5 to 9, or 4 to 9. It all depends on whatever they want to do with my schedule and how many hours they want to set me up for that particular week. Which kind of sucks, because like honestly, the ideal scenario would be that I will be scheduled to work the hours that I'm enough hours or steady hours, so that way my paychecks will not vary from week to week. But unfortunately, that's not the way that businesses start doing the business. So they can schedule me one week for like 22 hours, next week for 20 hours, and it totally sucks. And it's not like when you work full time that you know that you're going to get your 40 hours there every week, and you're going to get a steady paycheck. So that's one of the problems that working part time has, in my opinion. The hours that they schedule you. And my company, at least, you can set up your own schedule, but there are some other places that you apply, and then it's like, well, you need to be available, be flexible to work. And be flexible means that you pretty much can have another job because you never know the hours that they're going to schedule you during a particular week. And although I can understand it, it doesn't help when it's only a part-time job, and you need more than a part-time job to live. So I create problems coordinating two jobs. That is in addition of the problem of transportation. If I didn't have my car, getting from job A to job B could be a big hassle. So, and these are things that are not tagged, and I'm pretty sure the people that are in power, they don't consider those things. But like, so not having transportation can be a problem, because then you can be late for the other job. And then the other issue that I had is, like, for example, I was working a job that I had to work 7 a.m. in the morning until noon. And then I had about an hour or two to drive to my apartment, eat lunch, and then go to my other job, and then work until 9. So the other thing is like trying to balance both jobs so you have time to rest and you don't burn out. I was getting to a point that I was about to burn out. And that's a real thing. That exists, because I was going from one job to the next, and I'll be working almost like 12 hours, and I wouldn't be able to do anything else. And it sucks. It began putting a stress on me, and it began wearing me down. In addition, that I would not be able to get enough sleep, because the next day I had to wake up early to go to my other job. So I wasn't getting enough sleep, and I was overworking myself. So those are the two things that I noted by working two part-time jobs. And personally, I think it's disgusting that in our government we haven't been able to figure out what to do to help people and make people, get people out of poverty. I do think increasing the minimum wage is one of the things that can help people, because honestly, like, getting paid shitty wages and not having enough money to live, it's ridiculous. How much should be increased? Is it 15? I guess that's something that should be left to the state to decide. There are some states that $15 purchase you more than here in New York. New York is an expensive state, so I don't think increasing the wages to $15 an hour is not a bad idea. Now people are going to say, oh, it's going to increase the cost of everything, all that kind of stuff. Look, if you don't know accounting, go on to accounting, find a way, learn how profits are generated. You know, you can increase the cost of labor, the cost of like things, but also there's a thing about profits. The idea of a business is you're going to generate a profit, and businesses like to generate a lot of profits. You know, the more profits, the better. Although I can understand that, at the same time, like, what you do without that money, once you have that money, if you have a large profit, only you need a certain amount, besides paying your stockholders and all that kind of stuff, what you do without that money, you know? So the excuse that, I'm not going to increase the pay for my workers, but then you have, like, increasing the pay for, like, for example, CEO of the company, and nobody gives a shit, nobody say anything. Our society totally completely ignore that. What makes the CEO more important than the people that are working down in the bottom of the company? The way that I'm beginning to see corporations lately, and I think I posted this on Facebook a few weeks ago, is that corporations are beginning to remind me of back in the feudal system, where you have the landlord of the land working. He's the one that owns the land, and he has the pawns, and the pawns are there working for him. So I'm beginning to see corporations that way. Like, I'm a pawn in a big corporation that makes a person the top preacher. Meanwhile, they say they help me, but they are not helping because, I'm struggling financially, and so is everybody else that is working with me is struggling because we don't get paid enough. And the problem is, like, I don't want to ditch my car because I know that can affect me eventually, and then I will be back into step one. I'm trying to find other options for me. I can't move away because I don't have savings. If I need to move away, I may need to have a way to generate some savings, but right now I'm only living paycheck to paycheck, so I don't have any savings of any kind to be able to move to another state to find job. Besides, I like New York State. New York State decided to be more open-minded. Going to another state where people tend to be more biased toward people like me. I have two things that I have to deal. One, I'm Latina, so I know Spanish, and two, I am transgender. And there says that transgender people are treated like shit, and we don't have any rights. So it's making my decisions as to what to do with my life a little bit difficult. I've been thinking about opening a business of my own, but that also requires some money and some funding. So I'm in a very tough spot. But I don't think that the problem that we have in the country is like the part-time jobs that we're creating. Too many part-times, not many full-time jobs, opportunities out there, and the part-time jobs, because it's only part-time, you are not going to earn enough to be able to make a living unless you're living with your parents and you have certain expenses that I have because I don't have my parents nearby, so I cannot go and live with them. I have to pay for my own apartment, and my parents live in Puerto Rico, by the way. I have to pay my own apartment. I have to pay my own car. I have to pay my own expenses here. I'm responsible for myself. And then there's the other illusion that our society has, that only teenagers or people that are in college take these part-time jobs. That is not true. I am 42 years old. I'm working on retail because I cannot find a job with my education, and it's totally killing me. It's depressing, because you hear people talking, oh, well, they should go to school. You know what? I went to school. I have multiple degrees, and I still cannot find anything that can help me pay my bills. And true, you can make the argument, yeah, I had something before, because I did have something before, but it didn't work out the way that it was, that I expected. And because of that, I'm back into working part-time in retail, as a cashier. And sometimes you have to do what you have to do, because honestly, bills and expenses, they are not going to stop because I'm poor. I will still have to pay them. But when corporations, they don't offer enough full-time positions and they don't offer an income that is a living wage, then people are going to be problem because of that, or when they only offer part-time, but they demand so much out of you that they don't allow you to have another job on the side. It's kind of like unfair in my opinion too, because corporations and businesses, there are programs out there that you can have your workers, hey, which hours you want to work, and you can let workers decide the hours that they want to work in your business. Because, for example, if I have two jobs, part-time jobs, and one job pay me $13 an hour, and the other job pay me $11 an hour, the job that I want to work more hours is the job that pays me the more money, because that one I will earn more money than the one that is that is paying me less money. So, but when the businesses come up with like, oh, you have to be flexible in this one, you have to be available anytime that women need you, and this one has the same idea, then it becomes difficult for people to balance their job schedule, the work schedule, So that is unfair in my opinion, because businesses pretty much are putting people into poverty because of the idea that, oh, it's a part-time job, but you have to be available whenever we need you. It's total bullshit, If you're only going to pay people part-time, you should have a system, and there's no excuse for doing this because you can actually do this very easily, But it's an excuse in my opinion that businesses give. And it doesn't matter if it's a large or a small business, there are systems out there that you can come up with, like use Access, use Excel, use a type of program that will let you schedule people to work. But don't give the idea that, oh, you have to be flexible all the time because of the business. No, you can actually set up a schedule for people to come and work in your company at specific times so they can have other jobs to be able to make a living. Because the problem that I hate is like I try to, if I'm looking for another part-time, it's like, well, you need to be available anytime when it's a part-time job, and they're going to be paying me part-time income. They're not going to be paying me full-time income. That is stupid. That is bullshit. I like what my company, and I will say the name of the company, the Home Depot, has when it comes to scheduling, because I can pick and choose the hours that I want to work and the days that I want to work, and I can make my schedule work the way that I want to. But I don't like when other businesses don't have that and they expect me to be available all the time for a stupid part-time job that is not going to pay all my bills. It's total, complete bullshit. Anyway, I'm going to stop here, but as I said, my point is that there are more part-time jobs than full-time jobs, and if the part-time jobs are the problem that is making people into poverty, and unless we can find a way to increase the number of full-time positions. And it's not a numbers game, because honestly, like hiring people full time, then you will have to offer health insurance, etc., and benefits and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you pretty much cost the employer some money, but that the part-time jobs do not help people. They may help a little bit, but they don't help enough. And if you're a person like me that is living in a different state on your own, and trying to go by and have a lot of expenses, working part-time alone doesn't pay the bills. And I'm sure I'm not the only one dealing with this situation. And I hope that government and the government can find a way to solve this problem, because honestly, it is a problem, And I know that we can't tell corporations what they need to do, but maybe we can, Maybe we can. I think I heard New York State is thinking about passing a legislation that will have corporations that they can not change your schedule on the fly. They have to let you know the hours that you will be working 3 weeks in advance, which is pretty much what my company, the company that I'm working for, has. I know my schedule 3 weeks in advance, and they usually, unless people get sick and don't show up to work, I don't get called. I know the days that I'm going to be working. But there are some other places that don't have that, and I feel that is actually a very, very good legislation in there, because then for people that are working multiple part-time jobs, then it becomes more easier for them to schedule the hours that they want to work. Anyway, peace out. Leave comments below. Please don't say comments that are negative or are just based on attacking my myself. Leave comments that are that allow for discussion, open discussion. Don't insult other people because that's bullshit. And if I see that, I'm going to probably remove your comments. Anyway, good out.